Ladies and gentlemen, hear me clearly. You are not standing here by accident. No, this moment has been ordained for you by something far greater than chance. Destiny itself has summoned you. And today, I am here to unveil 6 undeniable signs that you are on the verge of stepping into the profound favor of God. But before we dive deeper, let's set one truth firmly in place. Favor is not fair. When the favor of God enters your life, it disrupts the natural order. It opens doors no man can shut. It lifts you to heights you never thought you could reach. Yet, understand this. Divine favor often emerges out of seasons that look nothing like victory. Favor is birthed not in comfort, but in testing. It's easy to have faith when life is smooth, when every bill is paid. Every plan falls neatly into place, and the path ahead looks bright. But real faith, true faith, is forged in the fire when the storm rages, when the ground beneath you shakes, when the things you leaned on crumble before your eyes. That is the proving ground of belief. And more often than not, it is the very hour right before favor finds you. Life, as strange as it sounds, sculpts us through adversity. The process rarely feels pleasant, and in the thick of it, it often makes no sense at all. You may find yourself asking, "Why me?" You may even wonder if heaven has gone silent. But hear me now. If you are being tested, it is not because you are forsaken, it is because you are chosen. God does not allow battles for those who are not destined to conquer. When the storm howls and your world seems to fall apart, pause. Look within. Ask yourself, what is holding me up? Storms have a ruthless way of revealing what we've built our lives upon. If your foundation rests on fleeting things, the opinions of others, your status, your own strength, it will collapse under pressure. But if you are anchored in the promises of God, you will stand unmoved, no matter how violent the winds. God permits storms not to destroy you, but to strip away everything that is not rooted in Him. Think of it. When life is easy, we rely on our own abilities. But when all else fails, when we reach the very end of ourselves, that is when we finally, truly lean into His power. And trusting Him, even through doubt, fear, and uncertainty, is not weakness, it is faith. Faith does not guarantee a life without questions. It does not promise a path free of fear. Faith means choosing to trust anyway, to rise each day and say, "God, I don't know how this will end, but I know you are good, and I know you are with me." That trust, that stubborn belief against all odds, is the seedbed of miracles. Remember this. The size of the test often foretells the size of the testimony. Every figure of faith we admire faced battles that seemed insurmountable. Joseph was betrayed and enslaved before he ruled Egypt. David was a fugitive before he wore the crown. Even Jesus endured the agony of the cross before the triumph of the resurrection. Imagine if Joseph had surrendered in the pit. Imagine if David had abandoned hope in the cave. Imagine if Jesus had refused the cross. The blessing always follows the test. Maybe right now you feel forgotten. Maybe you have prayed, fasted, worked, and waited, and still, the breakthrough has not arrived. Let me tell you with all certainty, delay is not denial. God's timing is never late, even when it doesn't align with your expectations. Sometimes, waiting itself is the test. It is heaven's question. Will you trust me when you cannot see? Will you remain faithful when answers feel a lifetime away? And here lies the breathtaking beauty of faith. It does not just change your life. It inspires those who witness your perseverance. When you hold your ground in the waiting, when you trust without proof, you become a living testament to the unstoppable power of God's favor. In the midst of trials, your faith does more than strengthen you. It becomes a beacon for those around you, your family, your friends, even strangers watching from afar. You become a living testimony of God's power and grace. Never think, even for a moment, that your faithfulness goes unnoticed. Every tear you shed, every whispered prayer, every courageous step forward, all are seen, known, and treasured in heaven. Let's be honest. Holding on to faith in times of hardship is no easy task. There will be days when surrender seems like the simpler choice. The enemy will try to infiltrate your mind with doubts, whispering that all your efforts are in vain. That is why guarding your heart and mind is crucial. Surround yourself with people who will remind you of God's promises when your own vision grows blurred. Fill your thoughts with His Word. Speak His promises over your life. Even when your circumstances seem to shout otherwise. You may be thinking, "I've been holding on for so long, and nothing has changed." If that's you, let me encourage you. Some of God's greatest works happen where no eye can see. Picture a seed buried deep in the earth before it ever breaks through the surface. It grows strong roots, establishing a foundation that will sustain it when it finally blooms. Your faith operates the same way. Every time you choose to trust God in adversity, your roots grow deeper, stronger, unseen yet unstoppable, and when the time is right, you will see the fruit. Remember, God's favor is not always revealed in material blessings or swift answers. Sometimes, His favor is the strength to endure, the peace to press forward, or the wisdom to make the right choice. Often, the very challenges that seem to break you are the ones God uses to shape you, to prepare you for the calling He has placed on your life. So do not resent the tests, and do not curse the storms. Instead, change your perspective. Ask God, "What are you teaching me through this? How are you growing my faith right now?" Then trust that He is weaving every detail together for your ultimate good. Let me end with this. Faith does not guarantee that you will never walk through the fire. But it does promise that you will never walk through it alone. God never promised an easy road, but He did vow to walk beside you every step of the way. So when the storms rage, do not be afraid. Do not let doubt and fear shake your foundation. Stand firm. Stand on His promises. Stand with confidence, knowing that if you are being tested, it is because something extraordinary is on the horizon. And when you have endured the test, you will look back and see that every tear, every battle, every trial was worth it for the favor God has poured into your life. Sometimes in life, a door will slam shut, and it can feel like the end of the road. It may come suddenly, unexpectedly, and painfully. You may feel disappointment, confusion, even betrayal. But hear me. A closed door is not the end of the story. It may, in fact, be the beginning of something far greater. What looks like rejection in the moment is often God's protection, steering you away from what was never meant for you, guiding you towards something better. When a door closes, frustration is natural. You may wonder, why would God allow this? But consider this. The closed door may be the clearest evidence that God is moving on your behalf. He sees what you cannot, the dangers ahead, the detours you would never anticipate. Sometimes, He closes a door to shield you from harm, delay, or derailment. Think of a child reaching for something harmful, unaware of the danger, and how a loving parent quickly intervenes. Even if the child does not understand why, that is exactly how God acts toward us, with perfect love, perfect wisdom, perfect timing. He sees what we cannot, and out of deep, unwavering love, He steps in to realign our path. In the moment, His intervention may feel like a loss, a sudden emptiness where once there was hope. Yet as time unfolds and the larger tapestry of our lives becomes visible, we begin to glimpse the hidden blessing behind that closed door. When God closes a door, our first instinct is often to mourn what we perceive as lost. We replay the moments in our minds, questioning our choices, wondering what we could have done differently. But the longer we cling to what lies behind us, the harder it becomes to see the new path God is preparing ahead. We often grasp tightly to the familiar, to the safe and known. But sometimes, in His great wisdom, God calls us to release even good things so that He can usher in something far greater. His plan is not about keeping us comfortable. It is about drawing us into a life far richer, deeper, and more aligned with His perfect purpose. Letting go is rarely easy. It demands trust that defies our limited understanding, patience when we long for quick answers, and faith that refuses to be shaken by what we cannot yet see. In that uncomfortable in-between, the waiting period between the closed door and the one yet to be opened, God is at work. He is refining our character, strengthening our faith, and equipping us for the blessings that lie ahead. Not every closed door is a punishment, nor does it mean the opportunity was bad. Sometimes, it simply wasn't the right fit, not for who you are becoming, not for the destiny God has ordained for you. Timing, in God's kingdom, is everything. He cares not only about where you are going, but also about when you arrive. A blessing received too soon can crush rather than uplift, and so He waits until you are fully prepared. There is danger in trying to force open doors God has deliberately shut. No matter how much effort or desire you pour into it, a door God has closed cannot be made right by human strength. And even if you manage to wrench it open, the consequences will reveal why it was sealed to begin with. True trust in God means believing that His no is as much a gift of love as His yes. When doubts creep in, look back. Remember the times when a door closed and your heart broke, only for you to later see how it redirected you towards something better, a new opportunity, a relationship you were meant for, a deeper sense of who you are under His guidance. What once felt like failure was, in truth, divine protection. Closed doors are some of God's most powerful teachers. They forge resilience, nurture trust, and invite us into surrender, a surrender that acknowledges we are not the authors of our story, but beloved characters in a narrative written by a God who sees the end from the beginning. Comparison only deepens the pain of waiting. When you look at others and wonder why their door opened while yours remains shut, you invite discouragement. But what God has for someone else is not meant for you. Just as what He has reserved for you is tailor-made and cannot be taken away. His plans for your life are sovereign and personal, unfolding with perfect timing even when it doesn't align with your expectations. And remember this: God does not merely close doors, He opens them. And when He opens a door, no power on earth or in heaven can close it. The opportunities He has prepared for you will far surpass anything you could have orchestrated on your own. His ways are higher, His timing is flawless, and His love never fails. Closed doors are not defeats, they are divine redirections. They are signs that God is actively, lovingly guiding your steps towards something far better than you could have imagined. So when a door closes, do not despair. Turn your heart toward Him. Trust that even in silence, even in uncertainty, He is working all things together for your good. A closed door is not rejection, it is a sacred invitation. Trust me, follow me, I have something better for you. The journey God leads you on will surpass every dream, every vision you once held. When you encounter closed doors, do not be disheartened. Instead, recognize them as necessary steps in a larger, divine process. Each no, each delay, each detour is not a rejection, but a redirection, steadily guiding you toward God's perfect and unimaginable plan for your life. At times, you may feel a quiet stirring deep within your soul, a restlessness that you can't easily explain. It's not fear, not anxiety, and not dissatisfaction. It's the sacred tension between where you've been and where you're destined to go. It's the quiet whisper of heaven telling you that the life you have built is becoming too small for the calling God is preparing to place upon you. Even if you cannot yet articulate it, you can feel it, a deep, spiritual shifting within your spirit. This sensation is no accident. It is not a random discomfort. It is the hand of God at work, awakening you to the truth that something greater is on the horizon. Long before change appears in your circumstances, God often starts His work inside you, rearranging, stretching, and awakening your spirit to prepare you for the outward transformation to come. This inner restlessness frequently emerges when you've outgrown your current season, though it may feel like you're stuck or wandering without direction. In reality, God is aligning you for the next chapter. Growth is rarely comfortable. It stretches you, challenges you, and demands that you break through the familiar, much like a seed must press and crack open beneath the earth before it ever reaches the light. Hidden in darkness, the seed must trust the process. And so must you. The stirring you sense is heaven's invitation to leave behind the safety of the known and step into the bold unknown of your purpose. It is God's way of shifting your focus, pulling you away from the busyness, the distractions, the endless striving for worldly success, and calling you back to Himself. He gently, sometimes painfully, invites you to loosen your grip on things that no longer serve His greater purpose for you, whether they be habits, relationships, ambitions, or mindsets. Let's be honest, spiritual restlessness is hard. It can feel like standing alone in a silent waiting room with no map, no instructions. You might question everything, your decisions, your relationships, even your calling. The temptation to rush, to force, to grasp for immediate answers will be strong. But hear this. This season is not about hurrying to the next thing. It's about trusting God in the tension of the in-between. When God stirs your spirit, He is not asking you to solve the mystery. He's asking you to trust Him deeper. Faith, in its truest form, is not certainty about outcomes. It is confidence in God's heart when the path is unclear. It is believing that what He is preparing for you is far greater than anything you could arrange by your own strength. It is the brave surrender of your timeline, your understanding, and your control. Often, this sacred process requires painful release. God may ask you to lay down things that once felt precious, relationships you loved, dreams you nurtured, comforts you depended on. The ache of letting go is real, but it is not loss. It is making space for the new blessings, the new purposes, and the new levels of calling that He has prepared for you. Sometimes, this spiritual stirring also brings an aching solitude. People who once fit easily into your life may begin to drift. Places that once felt like home may start to feel foreign. Do not mistake this isolation for abandonment. It is divine preparation. God often pulls us into solitude so that we can hear His voice without interference. So that in the stillness, He can reveal truths that were hidden by the noise of daily life. One of the most difficult lessons in this season is learning to wait, especially in a world that glorifies instant gratification. Waiting can feel useless, like wasted time. But in God's kingdom, waiting is never passive. It is active trust. God is never late. He is never rushed. He is sculpting your character, building your faith, and aligning circumstances on your behalf in ways unseen. When you feel that restless stirring, resist the urge to panic or leap into frantic action. Instead, lean in, seek His face, spend time in prayer, meditate on His word. Ask for His wisdom rather than forcing your own way. The restlessness you feel is not a call to do more. It is a sacred summons to draw nearer to God, to protect your peace, and to trust that He is weaving something beautiful and far beyond your imagination. Not everyone will understand the transformation you're going through. Some may question your decisions, try to pull you back into the comfort of what's familiar. But know this. The vision God has placed in your heart is yours alone, not theirs. You don't need their approval to follow the path He's set for you. Tune your heart to His voice, and trust that He will lead you where you need to go. This restlessness, this stirring in your spirit, is not a curse, it's a blessing. It's proof that God is actively working in your life. reshaping you for something greater. He's disrupting your comfort because he loves you too much to leave you in a place of complacency. God sees potential in you, even when you can't see it yourself. He is calling you to rise up, to become who he created you to be, to step into a purpose far beyond your imagination. The road ahead may feel like a wilderness, filled with uncertainty, a fog that clouds your vision. But that's okay. The same God who ignited the fire in your soul is the one who will guide you through the unknown. He is not a God of confusion, but of clarity. His presence is unwavering, even when the way forward seems unclear. Trust in his wisdom, lean into his guidance, step by step. Don't be afraid to dream beyond what you see in front of you. Sometimes, God stirs your spirit to stretch your vision, to think beyond your present circumstances and your past experiences. He is inviting you into a purpose so vast and so magnificent. It will take your breath away. Don't limit what he can do in your life. Trust that his plans for you are greater than anything you could ever ask or even imagine. Remember, this restless feeling is not permanent. It is a season, not your final destination. The stirring within you is a sign of change, not stagnation. God is moving you forward, preparing you for the life of purpose and favor he has designed for you. When he begins to prepare you for the next season, you may notice shifts in your relationships. Some that once felt solid may now seem distant. Others may even fall away. This can be confusing and painful. But know this: these changes are not by chance. God is pruning your circle, removing relationships that no longer align with the calling he's placed on your life. This isn't random. It's his divine strategy to position you for what lies ahead. Relationships are powerful. They shape your thoughts, your growth, and even how you see yourself. The people around you can either propel you toward your purpose or pull you away from it. That's why, when God is preparing you for something greater, he often begins by refining the relationships in your life. Not everyone is meant to walk with you where God is leading you. Though it may be hard to accept, this is a lesson you must learn. It's not that anyone is bad or unworthy. It's simply that their time in your life has come to an end. Like chapters in a book, some relationships have a purpose for a season, but they do not carry over into the next. God is moving you towards something higher, something greater. Some relationships are meant to help you grow, teach you lessons, or support you for a time. But when God is preparing you for what's next, he may ask you to release them. This process can feel lonely. You might wonder why certain people are drifting away, why relationships that once felt easy now seem strained. It's essential to trust that God sees what you cannot. He understands the deeper motives of each heart, the long-term impact of each connection, and how each person affects your growth. What you may view as a loyal friend, God may see as someone who could hinder your progress. Out of his love for you, he will intervene, removing what no longer aligns with his purpose for your life. Sometimes this shift happens gradually, like a slow drift. Other times, it's more sudden, like a door slamming shut without warning. But both are part of his plan. Even though it may hurt, trust that God is clearing the way for the right people to enter your life, people who will walk with you, encourage you, and help you fulfill the purpose he has set before you. In life, there are those who may not initially understand your growth, those who seem distant or uncertain about the path you're walking. Yet, what truly matters is not their immediate comprehension, but their willingness to evolve alongside you. These are the relationships that are worth nurturing. Seek out the ones who encourage you to rise, who celebrate your triumphs with an open heart and no envy, and who challenge you to continue pressing forward even when the road is steep. These are the souls who form part of the divine support system God has woven into your journey, walking beside you as you transition into new seasons of life. As relationships naturally shift and evolve, it's essential to guard your heart carefully. The loss of people, though painful, can open up space where bitterness or resentment might creep in. If you're not vigilant, these emotions can become heavy burdens that weigh down your spirit. Instead, release those feelings with gratitude. Thank God for the lessons and experiences that came through those individuals. And trust that their departure is part of His grand, unseen plan. Remember, as some are taken from your life, new faces will emerge, people whose paths will intersect with yours for reasons yet to unfold. These new relationships will be aligned with your divine purpose, pushing you toward growth in ways you hadn't imagined. But to make room for these fresh connections, you must let go of those that no longer serve you. Be intentional in the relationships you cultivate moving forward. Not every person who enters your life is meant to stay, and not all who support you carry pure motives. Seek wisdom through prayer. Ask God to reveal the true hearts of those around you and guide you in building relationships that align with His plans for you. In this process, you will likely notice your relationship with God growing stronger. When people leave, the space they vacate can be filled with a deeper intimacy with Him. The absence of others only makes room for His constant presence, His unwavering love, and His immeasurable strength to become your foundation. This season of refining is not about isolation, it is preparation. God is strategically placing the right people in your life, those who will help you step into the purpose He has prepared for you. As He arranges your circle, it will reflect His love, wisdom, and His vision for your future. Although this process can feel daunting, trust that it is leading to something far greater. Embrace the changes, welcome the new, and trust that each shift in your relationships is part of God's design to position you for what's ahead. Know that those meant to stay will remain, not because you've clung to them desperately, but because God Himself has woven them into your life's story. Your relationships play a pivotal role in your growth and journey, and God desires to ensure your circle is one that supports and strengthens you as He guides you into greater favor. Trust the process, believe in His timing, and know that every change, no matter how challenging, brings you closer to your divine purpose. There are moments in life when everything seems to crumble around you. Challenges arrive from every angle. Once clear paths become obstructed, and what was once easy now feels like an insurmountable task. In these moments, it is natural to question why the struggle has come. But understand this: resistance is not random. It is often the precursor to something monumental. The enemy does not waste energy on what does not pose a threat. And when you are on the brink of a breakthrough, the forces of opposition rise to stop you. Resistance is a sign that you are moving closer to something great, that you are nearing the fulfillment of God's purpose for your life. When God's plan for you advances, the enemy takes notice. He knows the power you will wield when you step fully into your calling. And his strategy is to distract, discourage, and dissuade you from reaching that destiny. But here is the truth: no resistance is greater than God's power. God often allows challenges to shape and prepare you for the blessings He is about to bring. The struggles you face today are fortifying you for tomorrow. Don't mistake opposition for a sign of failure. It is often the sign of impending victory. When you are walking in God's will, resistance is part of the journey. The enemy does not attack what he already controls. He targets those who are stepping into their divine purpose. Therefore, remain steadfast even when the pressure mounts. Your endurance is a testimony to your faith in God. The Bible is filled with examples of those who faced fierce opposition right before they experienced their greatest breakthroughs. David had to confront Goliath before being crowned a king. Joseph endured betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment before being elevated to a position of power. These stories remind us that breakthrough often comes after the fiercest battles. So, press on. Every challenge, every obstacle, is part of the preparation for what God is about to do in your life.